Alright, it's a new level. Or an episode, not level. Technically a new level. Now we got a level of character up. I did a little digging to remind myself what the fuck a Cipher is, because that's like a made-up class that I don't know what it is. And what I mean is that, like, there are tropey or generic classes you're used to, like Fighter and Paladin and Rogue. And then you got weird ones like Chanter, which I'm more familiar with because I had a Chanter in a Tyranny. I don't remember there being a Cipher in Tyranny. I don't think there was, but there was the voices. No, not the voices of Nerat. That was a different character. But there was the Chanter lady, and that was a neat class. So I wanted to try playing with as the main character as be that, because I keep accidentally making relatively generic melee or support characters when I even don't mean to. Because I made like a spear dude or whatever. I wanted to do a more complicated thing. It was gonna be a Chanter or a Druid most likely, and I went with Chanter because it's just like I like to lean into whatever's weird and different about a particular game as my protagonist. That's like a good idea, instead of having them be a staple. And Ranger was a bummer last time, and Sagani is a perfectly good Ranger, so there we go. But now I got a Cipher. I had to remind myself what the hell they are, because it's one of those made up ones again. They use soul powers and stuff. And I guess the core element here is that they essentially have like a rage meter, like in World of Warcraft for warriors a little bit. Although not entirely, I think, I don't remember if that one went up or when you took hits too or not. But anyway, there's two characters that have a resource that go up based on you dealing or receiving damage. In the case of Ciphers, you get energy from enemies being damaged, and in the case of monks, you take damage, and that builds up your resource. So the damage that's incoming builds up their stuff. All right, so Eder is athletics, Sagani is stealth, I am lore, Kana is mechanics, and survival's kind of a blip. But I think I put points into that for. Ah, crap. Give me a second. What level are you up with? I gave you stealth. I made you my secondary stealth character. Okay, she can be my secondary mechanics character. Because we don't need a lore person. All right. So one thing that's probably pretty cool about her is that if I want to, I can just unleash her if she does have an AI version that lets her do so. Normally I can't just let people do whatever they want because they're going to use up their limited resources. But I could potentially just let her run free if the AI is good enough, and if she doesn't have enough friendly fire at spells, because that'd be bad. But if I completely unlock Aloth and Durance, then for all I know they might spam all of their like limited use per rest spells in one fight, and then I'd have to rest every other fight. So I need to manually choose their stuff, but also because they're kind of characters, I kind of want to choose their stuff anyway because I don't trust the AI to make good choices. But if she's like a spell rogue or something, I don't know, we'll see. Gotta learn as we go how situational these turns out to be and stuff. Anti-pathetic field. You can tell it's not pathetic because it's anti-pathetic. Creates a toxic physical manifestation of the mutual antipathy between the Cipher and the enemy target. Enemies caught in the path between the two will suffer corrosive damage. Huh. So choose an enemy target, and then everyone between you and them takes damage? It's a beam. Requires 10 focus. She seems to start with 7, based on the fact that her avatar on the normal screen, not here, has a little purple circle with a 7 in it. I'm taking that to mean that she starts fights with 7. So she has to build it up a bit to get here. So does corrode damage. User, plus 20% beam damage over 16.2 seconds. What? So casting this makes my other beam attacks stronger? Is that what you're saying? I think so. Eye strike. Shocks an enemy's visual receptors, dazing and blinding them, as well as blinding nearby targets. Ooh, another blind explosion. 2.13 radius. Not bad. It even has some interrupt, as blinding is something you'd expect that would do. Good thing to add to Aloth stuff, potentially. Some good support stuff that helps the party stay alive. Soul Shock. Briefly transforms the outer shell of an allied target's soul into energy, releasing an electrical burst around them. Characters standing in the area of the target take shock damage. Another foe AoE. So she has a lot of spells that don't seem to hit your allies, which is good. So it's a Nova spell, basically, but it doesn't have to come out of you. I can have Eder explode lightning out of him, which sounds like fun. And I do like chain lightning. That's not really... It's a Nova, but still. Tenuous Grasp. Assails the target's grasp on reality, frightening and confusing them. They're frightened for 20 seconds. Listen, I really want the Nova, but I also want the blind and stuff. We'll see. I have more levels coming, so I'll have more chances. Biting Whip. The Cipher's Soul Whip bites deeper, granting bonus to damage. So here's what's useful. As I looked into this, Soul Whip is an ability that Ciphers have that's on by default, basically. And they just do bonus damage all the time, basically. But the point of it is that it drains their Cipher resource, their focus, so it's generating focus by doing additional damage to the enemy. And so that's how you generate focus. And so the moment you hit maximum focus, you then stop using Soul Whip. So you have to make sure that you're using your focus, because if it caps out, you actually do less damage with your normal attack because Soul Whip is no longer enabled. This just makes Soul Whip stronger, which just means all of my attacks are stronger, basically. Yeah, Soul Whip, passive. Focus below maximum, that's the requirement, basically. So that's nice. That's tempting. What else do you got? Psychic Backlash. Invokes a retaliatory strike, stunning an enemy whenever they target the Cipher's will defense. Psychic? Ooh. That's really interesting. If they do anything that attacks my will, certain mind-altering attacks, then she strikes back with a little stun. That's a cool thing. This is a cool character design. Just due to the sheer originality and difference in that they had to went out and make a new class, kind of like the Chanter. I might keep her around, especially out of these people. Draining Whip enhances the draining power of the Cipher Soul Whip, regenerating focus more quickly. 33% increased focus gain. These are important abilities to have. I feel like it's a no-brainer to have increased damage and increased focus gain when that's the core of the character. Greater focus. Increased maximum focus, plus 10. What's her normal max focus? I don't know. I'm just going to go with bonus damage as a default. That's a pretty obvious starting point, I think, for her first level up. Alright. More mechanics. Ooh, tier 2 abilities. Amplified Thrust. Bounces psychic energy harmlessly off the target and onto the closest nearby enemy, causing pierce damage and violently pushing them backwards. She likes to cast attacks on a specific enemy that affect people that aren't that enemy more than that enemy, it seems, and allies. Harmlessly off the target. Oh, you can choose an allied target. This is an allied target one again. So allied target plus 1 foe jump. Foe target takes a bunch of pierce damage and push. Damn. I'm confused. I think you might be able, it's not very well explained, but I think you might be able to pick an enemy or an ally. And if you pick an enemy, it hits that enemy and the other enemy, maybe. But it says harmlessly off the target. But the first one says foe target takes this damage, then it bounces to a second person that takes this damage. I think. Because it says damage, 3-meter push, comma, same damage, same 3-meter push. Whatever that's separate thing's called. So I think that if you pick an enemy, you might be able to pick both, but this once again says allied target, and this says harmlessly, so maybe you only do pick an ally. But then why does it say the damage twice? I don't know. For a lot of the abilities, when I hit the effects area, it becomes a weird word soup that I don't think actually explains what they think it explains. And I'm like, why is the same effect listed twice? Does it hit him twice? Does it hit the target if I pick an enemy target? But you said allied target and harmlessly, so maybe add a few more sentences up here. It's fine, we can read. We're playing Pillars of Eternity. We're okay with reading. Fucking lay out them details. We read books in this game for fun. Mental binding. It overwhelms the target's mental ability to communicate with its own body, paralyzing it and causing its soul to emit a shockwave that can leave nearby enemies stuck. Ooh. A crowd control is always fun. And everyone should... I think most of my characters should have one or two at least, just so they have something to throw around. And paralyze is fun. Hey, that one guy is kind of the boss. We should make him stop doing things for a bit. That would be nice, yes. If you're lucky. So paralyzed and stuck. Stuck means they just can't walk. Yeah. And they lose dexterity and accuracy. And deflection. And reflex. That's a lot of FX actually. But not nearly as cool as paralyzed, where they just stop doing anything. Mind blades. That sounds fun. Co-ops the target's essence, generating a slashing blade of force that attacks them before leaping to up to 5 additional targets. Oh, you're just gonna throw a chain lightning at me, huh? I do like those. I like the precision. It jumps between all of your enemies, targeting a bunch of different people without, you know, harming anyone on your team. And it also looks cool, usually, if they animate it well enough. Usually the coolest way of animating it is, you know, the titular example of a chain lightning just bouncing through a crowd is always a fun thing. I think back to, like... I think it was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 or something like that. It was some game I played that had a cool version of that, I think. So it's a 10-meter... Wow. Not only is it a 10-meter spell, which is pretty common, but the jump is 10 meters. So it's not very space restrictive. It'll just go. And it jumps 5 times, so it can hit 6 people for that much damage. That's a lot of attack. Do like me some area of effect, especially if it doesn't hit my allies. Phantom foes. Invades the minds of targets in the area of effect, causing them to believe that they are surrounded by phantom foes, leaving them flanked for the duration. Ooh. Give everybody the ability to attack flanked people. Which flanked itself reduces deflection, but if people have that one rogue ability, then they get 15% increased damage and other effects as a result of the flanking attack. The actual stat is that it reduces the number of enemies needed for a flank to happen by 10, which should make it negative for most characters. And so that's how they actually affect the stat. That's a neat one. Maybe not my first choice, but it's neat. Psycho-Vampiric Shield. The Cipher uses the target's shields to strength of mind against it, stealing a portion of its resolve in order to better deflect incoming attacks. They lose 10 resolve, and I gain 25 deflection. No, yeah. The enemy loses 10 resolve, and then I gain 25 deflection. I think I'm the one that gains it. Recall Agony. Causes the target to relive the psychic trauma of an injury moments after receiving it, experiencing the damage all over again. 30% of all damage is reapplied. That's funny. Only 30%, but still. That's just a raw, I make my damage that I cause more effective to people. Okay. I gotta go for Mind Blades. It's so exciting though. What level are we on? Level 3? I'll get more abilities, so I don't have to worry too much. Oh wait, I get to have 2 abilities. Of any tier. I get to have 2 abilities. Mental Binding's the one I wanted because I had Stuck and Paralyzed. Yeah, let's get those 2 for now. I get to have 2. Next level. Mechanics. I need my trap person or I'll be in trouble. One ability again. So we're gonna have a lot of these abilities, huh? Recall Agony's pretty good. This one's a lot of damage, whereas the other one's AoE damage. I do like direct target attacks a bit, although Recall Agony would be good to spend on one enemy. Just, oh, that specific boss? We need to amplify all incoming damage for a significant amount of time. That's a good one, I think. Okay, so I bought the one that gave me more damage. Now let's do the more, yeah, increased focus gain. Should be the go-to now, I think. I give points for the backlash ability where they attack your mind and you bounce it back, essentially, as being cool. But there's just 3 really basic, fundamentally good skills between me and that one. So it'll have to wait till later in the game, potentially. And for all I know, getting to a higher level might unlock new talents also. So we'll see. Tier 3 powers, and I get to learn 2 of them. I wasn't expecting a tier 3 yet. Probably should have. Ecto-Psychic Echo. Generates a rebounding wave of psychic feedback between the Cipher and an ally that causes crush damage to all enemies caught in between. Yeah, a lot of those moves. It's a really specific setup where certain other people become the conduit of my ability, and we operate based on that. With some of these, it might make sense to be a flanking or ranged character to be able to make these work. Wouldn't be the worst if she was ranged, because then I can have more ranged characters in what's becoming a crowded front line now that the druid joined the party and decided to make him a melee character. I don't see anything specifically melee about her besides the fact she starts with a dagger, but druid started with a spear and I changed my mind on that. Not a lot of crushed. Oh, it's because it's an AoE, right? That's why it doesn't have a huge amount of damage. Duration 10 seconds. Bow beam. Can I run around? Because between me and an ally, I wonder if I can like cast this on Adair, who's in the middle of the fight, and then run in a circle around the entire fight like a clock and just hit every single enemy. And also how many of them would they turn around and attack me because they're mad at that point, because I would not be surprised. Fractured Volition violates an enemy's memories to bring vivid recollections of past failures to the surface, leaving the target hobbled and weakened. I might undervalue hobble and weaken, but they're definitely not my go-tos. Single target cast. That costs 30 focus? It almost sounds like a lower level spell. How strong is weakened? Yeah. Not exciting necessarily, but sometimes the unexciting things are the really powerful ones. Pain Link mentally links nearby enemies to the target, forcing them to experience a portion of all damage the target suffers. Interesting. I'm about to end this man's career. Oh, and the target can be my guy. So I can make it so that for half a minute, all of Adair's damage gets applied to everybody around. Or if they happen to attack somebody that's more vulnerable. Although I gotta be careful because it's only 25%. And that person will just die if they're particularly vulnerable. But mainly that the more vulnerable people will take more damage and then put out more damage, but 25% is a little low. Puppet Master destroys a target's psychic defenses, leaving them dominated by the Cipher for the duration. Ooh. A dominated target is subservient to the will of the enemy and will use everything at its disposal to fight its former teammates. Overrides Charmed. It's even stronger than Charmed. Dominated is exclusive, meaning a character can only have one dominated affliction at a time. A newer one will dispel any older one. Can you cast Domination to override your ally being dominated and make them your teammate again? Subservient to the will of the enemy. That makes me wonder if it's a character I can control myself, or if it's just a full-on attacking character and that's it. 20 seconds of domination means we just have a new ally, basically. That's a really appealing skill that I'm probably going to get. Secret Horrors. Causes enemies in the area of effect to believe their worst fears have been realized, frightening and sickening them for the duration. For 20 seconds, that's a nice, healthy, long duration, and a big, healthy 4.26 radius. That's about 9 meters across. That's a big one. That's an AoE that's as large as my entire casting range, usually. Yeah. Wow. That'll be most of the fight, basically, is all frightened and sickened. Which, both those at the same time, that's an effect. Fortitude and Will. So all core stats go down by 1. Fortitude and Will and Accuracy are all down by 10. Resolve and Dexterity down by 2. So they're just weakened in general and less likely to be doing good hits and so on. Soul Ignition. Forces an enemy's soul to leak energy, igniting the air around them and burning them over time. 124.6 burn damage. Over a while, but still, like, that's a spike. That's one of the large numbers we've seen. Huh. It's good if I have a single person I especially need to burn, but we'll see. Secret Horrors and Puppet Master are both very appealing. I find it interesting that I'm focusing on 2 things that don't even attack in that case, though. But I got a few attack things in that tier, so let's do these nice ones. And taking over someone entirely is a different kind of attack. Yay. We're still leveling. Thank God for the extended episode durations, because getting a new character, every time I get a new character, we're only going to be later into the leveling sequence, and so it's going to only take longer each time. But we got to pay attention, and we got to read all the abilities and be sure we're doing what we want to do. Let's get Soul Ignition. And thankfully, once I've read them all, I know what they are, although when I come back hours later to level them up again, I might have to double check, which is why we do those jump cuts sometimes. Do I want more maximum focus, or do I want that stun? The stun is so cool, but the focus just makes sense to have. We'll have more talents in the future. I don't want to get any talents that are weapon specific or more general purpose, because I just don't fully know what I'm going to want her to do in combat, so I can't specialize her in a weapon type because I haven't used her yet. But going into combat with her underleveled also seems like a mistake, but thankfully she has 3 talents that all seem like no-brainers, so I don't have to worry too much about that yet. Okay, now it says 20 instead of 7. What does that mean? Here? We are that far into the next level already, huh? It goes quick. Okay, so she has a very... Oh. It feels like you'd want to have more might for a character like this. But she has intelligence, and she has dexterity. So she's fast, and she has large AoEs. She might have more intelligence than... Nope, not me. I have 18, but she's up there. That's all of her... Yep, this is our D&D school book. Spell book, not school book. Second Wind. Soul Whip. So here we go. Plus 20% melee damage, plus 20% range damage, plus 20% melee damage, plus 27... Okay, these tooltips are a fucking mess. I think they're saying it's because I upgraded it, so it shows both effects twice. It should really just say 40%, unless it's multiplicative, which would change the outcome if the percentages aren't treated as additive with each other. Because of the Cipher weapon, we already read that, I think. Fighting Spirit. Whenever... Oh, it's passive. When my endurance is below 50%, I get 7 accuracy and 15% damage for a while. All folk have an indomitable will that rises to the challenge. When things look grim, when a folk is below 50% endurance, they gain a bonus to accuracy and damage. Does everyone have that? There's my talents. I have 3 first level, 3 second level, and 3 third level. I didn't really plan that, but it seems to be the case. You have Fighting Spirit? Second to win. I don't see fighting spirit. That's under abilities. You have fighting spirit. You don't have fighting spirit. So it's not universal, but it's not exclusive to her either. Okay, so health, endurance, damage, accuracy, concentration, defenses. I just want to know how much focus she has maximum. How do you tell this information in the game? I would like to know this in the game, please. Please, please, please. Did I miss it somewhere? These are general, so it's not going to have that in here. I don't know, but she has 20 focus now when she had 7 before, so I think her baseline focus went up as she leveled up. So she can, like, use 2 abilities now? She can't, well, 2 level 1 abilities. She can't use any tier 3s, but she can use a tier 2 at the beginning of a fight, or she can use a tier 1 twice at the beginning of the fight if she wanted to. And drain her focus down. I'll have to keep an eye on her focus behavior to have an idea of how it behaves. Let's see. Damage, defensive crowd. I think I want to make her a damager. Begins the physical with a physical attack and then focusing on powers that emphasize damage like Mind Wave and Soul Shock. As a second emphasis, the Cipher uses crowd controls like Eye Strike, Tenuous Grasp, and Whisper of Treason. I don't have any of those. Or defense. Open with physic and then focusing on powers that emphasize personal or support defense, like most of those that I don't have either. If they're not available, they'll fall back in a mix of damage and crowd control. Then crowd control, I think I do have a bunch of. But yeah, I'll put her on damage for now. We'll see how it goes. Use per rest abilities, no, but I think most of her abilities aren't per rest, so. And then aggressive, because I need everyone to be actually finding new targets, because they're agonizing to control if they don't act that way. It sucks to be in a fight, and then your characters are just, like, not actively trying to fight. So I already had her in the back row. Does that make any sense, though? Because you're dual wielding. Okay, I'm curious. If doing a bunch of damage is my core motivation, I'm just a bit curious what happens if I just use a big ol' shotty gun. Because this attacks several times against one enemy. It's slow, which is kind of a bummer, but yeah. Worth a look, perhaps. Fine padded armor. Do I have unique armor to put on you? Saints Row armor. That's a little slow for a backliner. I just have fines, no unique things, nothing crazy and cool. And I don't think any of my capes currently have stats, so she's basically running around nude at the moment. Because every item I found has been accounted for. Alright, well, we'll test her out, and we'll see how it goes, because I don't really know what we're getting ourselves into here. But I've spent enough time customizing her at this point.
Your thoughts must flow deeply indeed.
Essentially, I more or less have 2 backline rangers at this point.
Sure.
There we go. The idea here is to make sure they're in front better, and then these 2 can kind of, these 3 to some extent can kind of like close the gap a moment later after Adair has kind of established the front line, because otherwise they have a bad tendency to wander out on front and cause me problems. Alright, well, after I spam quick save too many times, let's start to explore this place. Actually, let's go back to the bridge. Because I have a creeping question that I want to follow up on, which is she the one that they were talking about? Oh, now she has 30. You must have seen something. We've already told you we haven't. Stop peeking in our windows. No, no more dialogue. I realized I can make fast mode probably to make that go a little faster. So she has a history involving babies, so I'm wondering if she's the one they're accusing of killing babies. So let's just get this question solved.
How do you do?
No. I mean, they can't see her. So, because they have trouble seeing people correctly, this weird mechanic. So maybe they can't tell it's her, but I would have brought it up, you would think. I don't know. Let's go exploring this town. I'm already here. And I have to explore the town to even solve the quest I'm already doing, I think, right? Because I don't know. Yeah, she's hiding somewhere in town, so my incentive is to explore the town looking for the baby murderer, and in that case, I'm gonna end up doing everything else in this town, probably. Thief, thief, thief. The mill slowly grinds away all that at a trough of grain. Have you been to Defiance Bay? I heard there's no Hollowborn there. Can't remember the last time we had a healthy birth in the village. Oh. I suppose there's maybe some encouragement to be had there if Defiance Bay is specifically devoid of Hollowborn. I don't know if that's the case, though, or if it's just a rumor. Grass is greener situation. Like when you have an apocalypse narrative and then people always hear about like, oh, well, I hear over there things are actually good. And they kind of get to have hope as a result. That maybe they can get somewhere else that'll fix all their problems. But if Defiance Bay is healthy, that would mean that the most populated part of the region doesn't have Hollowborn in it, which means that the Hollowborn is somewhat of a less massive problem. It sucks to have your rural areas attacked and everything, but knowing that the most concentrated populations are actually safe would mean that it's not as apocalyptic, at least. A man paces angrily in front of a wrecked animal pen. His sun-withered face twisted with ire. He's so wrapped up in his fury that he doesn't seem to notice you. Galdwain's slobbering beasts, blazing bloody effigy, thrice damned salty wenchen or soggy. That's probably not the best way to pray to the gods. A fat lot of good they've done me so far. Just look at this mess. My pen ruined, and all but a few measly runs gone. Calm down and tell me what happened. He bites his lip and closes his eyes. His nostrils flare with each quick, angry breath. Wife's always telling me to mind my temper. Just breathe deep and count to 10. He sighs. An ogre moved into the area not long ago. Folk had been seeing glimpses and tracks out in the woods, but it seemed to be staying away from town. Or so we all thought, until it made off with my pigs. Now everyone's afraid it's going to develop a taste for kith, if it hasn't already. Did you see the ogre take your pigs? What else would have destroyed my pen and made off with my herd? At the same time, the rest of the village is seeing a 10-foot monster in the forest. I know it's too late to get my pigs back, but it set my mind at ease to see that thing's head shorn from its neck. In fact, you bring its ugly pate to me, I'll trade you for something that's of less use to a farmer like me than a rowdy-looking sword like yourself. What do you know about the ogre? It's the same as any other, I'm sure. A big, ugly son of a bitch with a nasty temper and an appetite to match. Trigil could tell you more. He claims to have seen it in the wood. You can find him in his shop, right by the broken tower. Need something else? I've been sent to find an Orlan named Nifri. Do you know where she is? Never heard of her. Well, 0 progress on my core goal, but we're hearing about an ogre and a reward that's apparently good if you're the kind of person who gets in fights Wow, just my type. So I guess that'll be my new focus now, is we'll look at this quest chain. And we'll just keep looking around town until we find Knifery, but each quest I find along the way will become our new main.
Reminds me of this stable hand, Drutman. Not real popular with the women, Drutman.
She's been missing for days. You people can't keep stonewalling us. And you can't just barge into our homes. We told you she's not here. They're totally talking about Knifery, aren't they? It sounds like the town's protecting her. So maybe the people attacking her full of shit. You would hope at that point, or it's gonna get ugly. I can't find it anywhere. They cut off as I walked in. We'll talk about this later. Get back to the dyes. I'll take care of our customer. We walked in the middle of something. Saban and Trigil.
Gods keep you.
A sturdy-looking, broad-shouldered man wipes his hands on his slacks. He reeks of the same foul compound wafting from the vats, and his arms are stained with dye. You looking to purchase some leather? Roombald mentioned something about an ogre. He's hardly talked about anything else since those pigs of his went missing. The whole town's been worried about that monster. People are starting to see shapes in their windows at night, hearing its growl and the snoring of their mates. It would put a lot of minds at ease if someone got rid of it. He scrapes a red pigment under his fingernails. I sometimes venture into the wilderness, collecting ingredients for my dyes. Mind you, I've seen tracks east of here, near the river. That couldn't have been anything else. He wipes a splotch of dye from his elbow with his shirt tail. Something else you need? What's in the collapsed tower? It's collapsed. Nothing. He rolls his eyes and shrugs. A few hides on stretching racks and a tallow stench Dengler's always grumbling about. The rest of the keep's dust. Just like the fool lady Thanu who tried to hold it. There's a bard in the inn who will tell you the whole blazing story if you want to hear it. Have you seen Knifery in Orlin of Defiance Bay? I make it a point to keep out of other people's business. Exceptional hide armor. Exceptional leather armor. A lot of exceptionals. Girdle of mortal protection. Ooh. Significantly reduced crit damage. Alright. Now we're just getting... Yep, here they come. I assume that's audible. Just blaring, horrible city noise. At this point we've got there's police officers and fire trucks and everything. +1 endurance per 3 seconds. That's very troll in nature to be healing over time. Not morbidly expensive, also not a huge amount of endurance admittedly, but it's if you keep stacking them, all these endurance effects on one character, that can keep them up. Keep Adair nice and healthy, for example. We have you with fine padded armor, negative 20%. If we wanted to maintain that attack speed, maybe we could. Nah. Looks like the lowest you can go is leather. And hide. Huh. Well, I'm curious about that item and would like to pick it up, so let's go ahead and grab that. A troll hide belt. Should make some kind of difference for some characters. That's the wrong slot. What do you have? You have 2 DRs, which is pretty good. So let's pop it on you. You've got an open slot, melee character. I'm not one for chit chat, dwarf. Speak to Triggle if you've got questions. It's her. She's the baby strangler. Dyes fill the wooden vats. They smell of dung and plant matter. Difficulty 7. They could have set something up. Maybe they want me to not think there's anything back there, but there's totally something back there.
Sure.
Like a giant fake troll.
With
Whoa.
the cat's nose, how is it you failed to notice your rotten stench?
Failed to notice? Hardly. I put work into smelling this way.
I should have expected.
I never know what sort of game is downwind. I need to smell like part of nature, not an interloper.
I put work to smell this way. Shouldn't be too expected. Dyrford Crossing. Yeah. Why does it sound familiar? It might just be the cross of crossing being a generic thing and Dyrford being where I already am. Well, they said it was to the east. Out into the wilderness. Let's go do some fighting. I want to see this character in action. We'll start with the central path. How big is this area? Not huge. They tend to be kind of consistent. What's with these? This could be where we're trying to take Sagani. Cliffs and rocks and all that. Oh, we can't even go that way anymore. Alright, well, let's go fill this chunk of map in. What is that? A wood beetle. Get it. Look at it. It's glowing now. Her focus is glowing. Ooh. Grieving Mother's weapon is ineffective. And they're dying. We're good. Some more sporelings. Haven't seen those in a bit. Just for funsies. Rawr, monster. Once per fight and all that. Dank spores. That, oh yeah, it occurs to me. You're new to the party.
Something?
I did not, yeah, I didn't customize you. Aggressive. If per rest is not enabled, is going to be my example. Druid will behave normally unless engaged in melee and reduced to less than 50% endurance, in which case they will spirit shift. They specifically spirit shift when they get low. Behave normally unless they're engaged. Spirit shift. Okay. So spirit shift is the only exception. These all change what they cast if I enable per rest, but otherwise it's just an automatic spirit shift if he takes a bunch of damage. This one looks like it just goes for it. Emphasizes spirit shifting as soon as the druid is able to engage an enemy in melee. If per rest is enabled, the druid will use melee and crowd control spells, emphasizing lower level options and only ones that are foe only. Might go with spirit shift just to have him go for it for now. But we can change it to the more defensive casting later if we want to. But by default, I can't help but think a lot of these fights around here in particular aren't going to be very long. So if I want them to count, if I want him to be most effective, he should just go right into it and then start casting other stuff as time goes on. Get him. So, Grieving Mother opens with an attack. Trying to follow her a bit here. She has 31 focus, so it can get up there. She interrupted them with her ineffective weapon. Seems like a pretty good effect to have. Okay. It pauses a lot for an effective weapon on one attack because she's using a blunderbuss and she's hitting them a lot with that ongoing attack. That is a blunderbuss. Looks like she's channeling purple energy from her other hand into the weapon. It looks like a wand as a result. I'm most interested in seeing what she does next. A lot of ineffective weapons. I think it's just because they're a big, tanky character. Is she reloading? Okay, she just shot him again. Now she has 38 focus. 39 focus. Okay, so it counts each individual attack of a blunderbuss over time instead of simultaneously. So you can actually watch her focus ticking up as it keeps pausing for the ineffectiveness. I haven't been... Let's be honest. It's not information I've necessarily been using so much, so let's maybe turn away from this particular pause. It's starting to get annoying. But if I hit a difficulty wall, then I'll start pausing it more during that. But I'm realizing that I'm not really changing my behavior based on that information, so it's not really worth pausing the game every time it happens. And in some of these cases, like her blunderbuss or other characters, like the skeletons and summons, I don't necessarily care about the fact that they're weak. The skeletons are supposed to be weak. They're a distraction. Okay, back to normal speed mode. We have a bit of an issue. Oh wait, no, is this a bridge over here? I was noticing I can't access most of the map. Yeah, here it is. We have an altar. Stands out to me is that so far she's not casting anything. She is supposed to be damaging. I wonder why she's not really doing anything so far. Anyway, this will be fun. Let's go mind control somebody. Give it a go. There you go. Now he's my friend. Isn't that quaint? He's gonna screw some people up. Itumak's about to die. Uh-oh. Did I tell you to shapeshift as soon as you're engaged in combat? Alright. We'll get him. He's dead. He dead. Itumak, no. Thankfully, this mind control target is just massively tipping the scale. I mean, it's probably tipped against them to begin with, but boy does that ruin it the moment that the most powerful spellcaster joins my team. That's a fun trick to have, and to be able to cast the moment the fight starts, apparently, because I guess because of the level we are or something, we can cast that sooner. Because her base focus kept going up. It was 7 at first, now it's 30. So it seems to scale. You stand within what looks to be a ruined shrine. The moss-covered remnant of an ancient statue lies before you. Only the broken legs and feet of the sculpture remain. Long grooves alongside it suggest that it could be moved. Near the base of the statue, you discover a skull carved into the stone. Examine the skull. A skull is carved into the stone in intricate relief. Its mouth agape. Peering closely, you notice a rusty keyhole between its jaws. Pick the lock. Grieving mother pushes several tumblers into position at a series of rusty clicks and squeals. Suddenly, the ruined statue begins to move. The displaced pedestal reveals a dark passage descending to the earth.
Where do you suppose this leads?
We had a few solutions, because we could also use our hammer and chisel to make a hole here, apparently. Interesting to see alternate solutions. Don't know if they would work, of course. Sometimes an alternate solution is only posed as a possibility, and then it doesn't work. Where does it lead? Nope, just called broken statue. No hints. I'm gonna keep exploring for now. It could be just a little room, or it could be an entire dungeon in there. And if it's the latter, I'd like to finish the zone first. Just to not have to pick up where we left off. We have a ruined building. Okay, get him. What could go wrong? Okay. Elder Wolf. Wolf. Hey, you. Wow, you have 53 focus right now. How about you make the Elder Wolf our buddy? I'll tell everyone else to attack this other wolf. If they can. I gotta reset your command. There we go. The Elder Wolf switching teams sounds like a great idea. Did it work? Elder Wolf is an ally, yep. Well, got bad news for you guys. Anyway, Mind Blades, that sounds like fun. Yay, bouncing attacks. Okay. I hate to do this to you, Mr. Wolf, but we're gonna have to form a death circle around you right about now, because we don't want you getting away. There it goes. Well, yeah. Am I the bad guy here? Elder Wolf Fang. The wolves of the Dyrwood are a large and crafty breed. Bereft of the species' usual shyness, they present a serious hazard to travelers who venture off the beaten path. Hunters who seek them out will usually contend with a single wolf, for they travel in packs of usually not contend with a single wolf, for they travel in packs of varying sizes, presenting a challenge to a lonely hunter. Their furry hides are valued for their warmth they can provide, and the teeth of the strongest wolves make for impressive trophies. But to know it has no additional purpose, it's just a trophy.
Yeah.
I think I just realized, because I was thinking about how like I might have to rethink my whole strategy with my party members and their personal libraries. And it occurs to me, you may be able to better access, if you go to their footlockers at their beds, you might be able to access their inventories from those, allowing me to get the books off of the characters who have them. That's how the lockers work in Mass Effect and a few other games, I believe. Okay, let's go poking around, everybody. If your mechanics skills or whatever pick up on secrets. They are ruins, after all.
This may prove useful.
There we go. Scroll of Prayer against Restraint.
Yeah.
Having it pause when combat starts, or when I spot an enemy, and then just letting myself sprint through the areas definitely does make the exploration more palatable. A dungeon's one thing, but a relatively linear mental binding. A dungeon's one thing, but a giant open field of blah is often less interesting to explore.
Right.
You can find interesting things along the way, but the actual fact of smearing your characters across the giant open field over and over again is usually less engaging. This is definitely the ogre's lair, huh? The Grisly cave. That's concerning. No, let's do it now. Good way to close out the episode is by finishing the quest that I started this episode. So let's go ahead and do this now instead of continuing the map. So which way are we going with this? Is he a perfectly fine misunderstood troll, or is he going to attack me on sight? Or is there no one here? There definitely was a giant pile of bodies, which seems to indicate that there's totally an evil troll here. Oh, it's not exactly a small area either. Oh, you're not in stealth mode. I don't think they got the memo to be in stealth mode that everybody else had. Whoops. Look, a big crowded, nasty group of enemies. What do you mean not enough focus? Oh, did she actually cast something? What'd she cast? Soul ignition, really? Hmm. That's fine. We tried. Oops. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and make her decisions for her. She makes some strange choices. Why would you cast the giant damage over time spell? That's only on one guy. That's a lot of spiders. Oh boy, that's a lot of spiders. Okay. We should start casting things. Whoa. It hits anyone in their path though, right? It's not a faux AoE. Faux target, faux AoE. What? I can just send it out there? That's fun. Anyway, we might want to have some damage reduction on the party. This fight is escalating in a somewhat concerning way. Oh, there goes Itumak. That's a good example. Yeah, I'm gonna want that paralyze coming out soon. What? Click. There we go. Okay. Good start. Let's get that soul shock going. Throw that emergency spell down. Some people already need it. But this will be a stun in a moment. Okay, you're taking damage. Let's go ahead and transform you. Because they're all mad at you for what you just did. Did they paralyze? Did that work? Yes, Guerre. I think it worked. I hope it worked. It's hard to keep track of all the effects happening. Alright. You're in anger mode. People are aggressively attacking things. You're both focus firing that enemy while he holds all those ones down. They're focusing... Switch you to that guy. Switch all of you to that guy. Just because he'll go down sooner. Okay. Now you deal with the fact that you're being attacked right now. And he can one-on-one that guy. This guy's not, you're not currently, okay, let's have you go help Iravis, because he's more vulnerable than Eder, who will basically never die. And you got webbed. Okay. Look who just got webbed. We're gonna have to heal you. Can I get both of you? Yeah, I can. Okay. That's a little more helpful than just not getting both of you. I forgot I had that ability. Did I not? I don't know if I picked that ability, actually. That might have been an enemy, that might have been an ability that I got picked up kind of... That might have been a starting ability at level 1. Yeah, let's knock these guys on their ass. Iravis needs some help. What were they all immune to? Get that heal. There we go. That heal just went down. They're not immune to prone, are they? Did she cast it? Eder knockdown is critting things. Grieving Mother is also... Yep, prone for a few seconds. Okay. So crowd control's working out at the moment. Nobody else is dead yet. I think I just saw something massive, rapidly spinning. That was a weird visual. Hiravis, you get over here with the rest of the crew. I need you all to focus fire for a bit. Is here... Did Edo just say his I'm dying sound or something? Said not to alarm you. Oh, he's been poisoned. That's not a big deal. He's fine. Let's do this nice little AoE. There we go. That actually work? 8 damage, 3 damage. It's not incredible, but hey, the one on me died, so Grieving Mother's fine. Yep, this is turning around.
My mind feels sharp as steel.
Okay. Not a mellow fight. I was like, oh, spiders, no big deal. And then slowly it was unveiled that there was many spiders. A number of spiders. A plurality of spiders, if you will. We're gonna take a rest. Bonus Wilder. Yeah, you want a bonus against Wilder because I believe an ogre would be a Wilder, and that's probably where we're going with this. Yeah? Alright. You awake to see Durance, his staff held in both of his hands before him. A flame flickers at its top end, casting long shadows across his face as he stares in contemplation. Still, for all the light of the fire, your eyes can't focus on him. Perhaps it is awakening from sleep, or a trick of the light, but he seems indistinct, blurred around the edges, everything except for the staff. Huh. Is Durance some kind of illusion? In a way that the Grieving Mother is, or has? The staff. He seems to be studying its engravings. As you watch, the engravings glow thinly red, like through the cracks of heat-suffused wood. The lines seem like molten metal, burning along the edges of the staff, then branch out in an intricate series of fiery veins, bunching thickly, where his hands clutch the wood, pulsing as if a heartbeat. As you watch, the veins spiral in a dozen separate circles, circles that spiral again until they are arranged in a circle of their own. They pulse, wait, and all is strangely silent. And then, suddenly, there's a great light from the fire, a rushing of air, a great flash, and you awaken again, to see Durance in the same place, still holding a staff. But he is solid, real. He doesn't seem to have noticed you, or reacted to what occurred. Ah. That's an update on Durance. Yeah, that wasn't just flavor, that was actually progress with him. Interesting. And also next time.